Hello, guys. So today we are going to talk about how to ask better questions. You may wonder why we need to ask questions first of all. These questions will help you to have a meaningful or a deeper conversation with the people who meet, strangers or anyone you know already. So let's dive into the questions, which will make your conversations deeper and more meaningful. So first thing, the author says, don't ask yes or no questions. They are all like, if you ask an yes or no question, it will simply end with yes or no, please. So please, ask an open-ended question. Right? So it will generate a more interesting, replies from the friend you met now. So that will also give you more information from the people you question this. So please don't ask like, do you like cricket? Uh, Rather than that, you can ask, why do you like cricket? Fine. So that's an example. Then the next thing is, ask why three times. So this would be the easiest way to, improve the level of your conversation. Say, for example, if you ask a person why they like cricket, and they may say like it's a good escape, no, it's a good thing, they do it just to get away from something. Then you can ask the person, saying like, why do you feel like, you want to escape from something, like, why do you feel like, you need an escape. Then, say for example, if the answer, it is because of their family things or a job or something is stressful, then you can ask, why that something is so stressful. So these kind of repeated why questions can turn a simple question about movies or cricket or anything or any X or Y into a much deeper conversation. Then the next thing is, ask about specifics, not generalizations. Fine. So your question should be about, specific things, finer things. So then, people will give you, answers which will throw more light on what they think. So please, don't ask like, what was so fun about their job. Or what was so fun about the last thing they did, like a vacation or a trip, or the food they ate. Rather than that, you can really point down and ask, um, when they did something like a trip or a vacationing, what is the single most fun moment, they encountered in that vacation or a fun and trip, when they ate something, what was the most fun-filled experience they had, or a moment they had, then they will throw light on more on that. Then ask about reactions. Fine. Um, so what is this? Say, for example, they had an experience, a person had an experience, then based on that, experience, you can ask them, now what surprised them, challenge them, or like, they might have had one viewpoint, after that experience, they might have changed their viewpoint. Fine. So in this respect, ask about their reactions to a certain event which happened in their life. So you can like, please don't ask like, what it's like to be a software engineer. Rather than that, you can ask, what's the most surprising thing you have discovered about being a software engineer? Or you can ask, like, rather than asking what is it like to be a teacher or a college professor, you can ask, what is the um, best thing they have discovered, being a teacher or a lecturer or something like that. Then, ask follow-up questions. Like when you ask a question, please pay attention to the answer they are saying, and ask a question based on the answer they give. so that they can dig deeper. Say for example, you are talking to a person who is a college professor, and um, and they found out like how, like they encounter people from not so privileged background, and they are talking about it. Then you can ask, like, uh, being a teacher, what they do to help those underprivileged or underprivileged students to come up in their life, or what they do it to learn or uplift them. Then you can ask about lessons. If your goal is to learn from somebody, the easiest and the shortest way to ask them is what they learned out of any experience. Then you can ask, like, say for example, you are speaking to a software engineer. You can ask, what did you learn from, or what did you learn from working for that client? uh, and say for example, you are talking to a businessman. Then you can ask, what do you wish you knew before you started working, uh, before starting the business. So, and the other thing is, like, you can ask, what kind of advice they would give for others who want to start a business, if you are talking to a businessman. And then ask for a story. As you know, like, many things you can get out of a story. So ask people whether they have any interesting story to tell, rather than asking somebody what it's like to be a software engineer, and ask them, what is the craziest, out of the world thing that's ever happened to them, when they were in a software company. Fine. And the thing is, like, you have to ask like a kid. Say for example, if you don't understand something fully, if you want more clarity, you want more information, ask a person how they would explain it to a kid or somebody with no experience on the subject. Instead of asking, can you explain that feature or some concept again, rather than you can say, how would you explain that feature to somebody who is never seen something like that before. Then the last thing is, ask what else you should ask. It is a great question. Say for example, we can ask somebody, you're having a conversation with somebody, and you can say, from say software engineering profession, or a professor, or a doctor, and you can ask them, what are this is something, what's a question nobody ever asked you but you wish they would. What is the one question people missed out asking them? Then they may tell a different thing. So so this wraps up. So if you follow these 9 different things, you will have a livelier and a deeper conversation. Thank you.